Members of the National Guard march on LA's MacArthur Park. Members of the National Guard marching on MacArthur Park. Mayor Karen Bass addresses the operation in LA. Let's listen.
So here's the truth. There's no plan other than fear, chaos, and politics. Home Depot one day, a car wash the next, armed vehicles and what looked like mounted military units in a park the next day. What happened to the criminals, the drug dealers, the violent individuals who were in the park today were children. It was their summer camp.
Chaotic summer camp, if you will. We do have footage from MacArthur Park. If you could look at this. And there you see, it almost looks like troops moving in, if you will. Mayor Karen Bass posted the following remarks with this footage. This is footage from today in MacArthur Park. Minutes before, there were more than 20 kids playing. Then the military comes through. The second I heard about this, I went to the park to speak to the person in charge to tell them it needed to end now. Absolutely outrageous. Dozens of federal officials in tactical gear, about 90 members of the California National Guard, were deployed for about an hour Monday to a mostly empty park in Los Angeles, that neighborhood with a large immigrant population. It was not immediately known if any arrests were made. AP contributing to this. Now, defense officials have said the troops and over a dozen military vehicles would help protect immigration officers as they carried out the raid in MacArthur Park. Mayor Karen Bass is referring to the events as a political stunt. Among those who spoke with Bass were healthcare outreach workers who were working with homeless residents Monday when troops pointed guns at them and told them to get out of the park. I added that inflection because it was abusive, I think, okay? It was hostile, meant to be. Told them to get out of the park. The operation in the large park about 2 miles west of downtown LA included 17 Humvees, 4 tactical vehicles, 2 ambulances, and the armed soldiers, defense officials said. Now, it came after President Donald Trump deployed thousands of Guard members and active duty Marines to the city last month following protests over previous immigration raids. The response, I'll show you. How dare you raise your voices? More than 4,000 California National Guard and hundreds of U.S. Marines have been deployed in Los Angeles since June. And remember, this is against the wishes of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Last week, the military announced about 200 of those troops would be returned to their units to fight wildfires. Seems like better use of time and resources. Governor Gavin Newsom called the events at the park a spectacle. This is not about going after dangerous criminals, Newsom said, of Trump's mass deportation plans. This is about destroying the fabric of this state. Then Karen Bass tapped back in, continued her remarks. There's no plan other than fear, chaos, and politics, she added. Home Depot one day, a car wash the next, armed vehicles, and what looked like mounted military units in a park the next day. What happened to the criminals? Heard her say that. Drug dealers, violent individuals. Remember, that's what Donald Trump said when he came down that escalator all those years ago. Who were in the park today? Children, summer camp. Those kids now have no activities, ushered inside so that they didn't get exposed to the troops that were walking in formation across their playground area. Now, a new bill proposed would force agents to identify themselves, ban most masks. Federal immigration agents would be banned from wearing most face coverings, but be required to wear visible ID during public enforcement operations. That's according to a proposal from Democratic U.S. Senators Alex Padilla. Last seen taken to the ground while trying to ask Kristi Noem a simple question at a press conference. They took him down to the ground. Remember that guy? So he's proposed this, and also the New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, Axios with the reporting. They'd also have to include information on their names, badge, numbers. This requirement would extend to federal agents detailed for immigration operations, deputized state or local officers. Now, the bill would also prohibit non medical face coverings such as masks or balaclavas that obscure identity or facial visibility, with exceptions for environmental hazards or covert operations. In addition, it would require the Department of Homeland Security to establish disciplinary procedures for violations, report annually to Congress, investigate complaints through its Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. Well, I would just say, what the hell, Jackson? I mean, this is ludicrous, but this is our new normal. And this is what is happening in Los Angeles. It seems much to the delight of some, particularly the occupant who's in charge at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It seems that this is delightful to them, but a horror show to kids at a playground. What do you make of these tactics? And when, some are asking, will they finally backfire enough to end the practices?
Well, unfortunately, I don't know really what it would take within this particular administration for them to backtrack on this. Because at the end of the day, mass deportations are their bread and butter, at least by brand. You know, that was one of the biggest elements of Donald Trump's 2024 campaign was he was going to get all 10 million undocumented migrants out of here, which we know most of them are here from extended visas. And when Stephen Miller's goal of 3,000 migrants per day, there's only 10,000, criminals, gang members, all of that type of stuff here who are undocumented. So clearly 3,000 a day, you're going to get over that. That's why we've been seeing them go after just everyday, food truck workers, people in the back of IHOPs, people in the back of Home Depots, the places that keep the country flowing. But a lot of it is a show because at the end of the day, they can't kick 10 million people out of here. And also, the rhetoric about how there's open borders when Democrats are in office is just not true. Joe Biden kicked 4 million people out while he was here. That's something that's always happening. This also is really the only element of Donald Trump's campaign policy promises that he can, and again, he won't fulfill them fully, but he can at least give off the impression because he's already getting us more involved in war. This latest bill, the big beautiful bill, increases the military budget by $157 billion. That's over $1 trillion now. He, in fact, did cut almost $1 trillion from Medicaid, even though he said he wasn't going to do it. This Epstein stuff. Now the DOJ came out. Oh, there's nothing to see here. There's no client list because Donald Trump is on that client list. So, everything. Oh, 90 deals in 90 days with the trade war tariffs. Ain't nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like endless failure. And this is the only thing that the Trump administration can do to at least appear like they're actually hard at work.
Well, a couple of things. Scott Bissett would tell you that we can't tell you everything. We don't want to jeopardize the deals. Perhaps they'll, I don't know, get to the 90 deals in 90 days. Doubt, but that's what he'd say. So it sounds like a gentleman with just a weed whacker and a job to do. Better be on guard because he's sure to be tackled to the ground in a city near you. This time it's LA. What, if anything, do you think the Democrats, Gavin Newsom? I mean, we had the introduction of this bill saying no more of these masks. You need to have on badges that identify you in some way, badge number, something. Are the Democrats doing enough? Is there more they can even do when you have such defiance from Donald Trump and his chief architect, Stephen Miller?
Well, at the end of the day, there was more that Democrats could have done years ago. Merrick Garland could have brought these prosecutions against Donald Trump much sooner so that we didn't have to go into the election with pending cases. Now, nonetheless, unless he was actually in prison, what difference would it have made? Because, tens of millions of Americans saw that he was convicted of 34 felonies, charged with 91 felonies, and they were like, oh, nothing to see here. So at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of blame to go around, but we're talking about years of Democratic weakness that have led to this point. So what really needs to be done is we need to vote them out. That's really the only thing that's going to make a big difference. And it is possible. It's a slow game. And at the end of the day, federal corruption from corporate America in the federal system is the biggest issue. But no, these people ain't gonna do that much more. We got to get them out of here.
Yeah, get to voting before. Didn't he say you wouldn't have to vote after this?
Oh yeah, he did
last one?
say you wouldn't have after this go round. You're not gonna have to worry about that pesky voting. But you know, in fact, we got the midterms coming up, and you know, let's do what we can. Let's continue to organize the best to our ability.
We'll see. It seems that every time in California since June and the deployment of these, well, yeah, you deployed troops against American people. With every protest, with every enough from Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, Gavin Newsom could be a future presidential candidate, the governor of California. It seems that they just do more to poke the bear. All part of a strategy, I suppose.